Loved ones. This is Love Marlene 411, and welcome to today's conversation. Over here we talk about all of the love things, and I wanted to have this conversation about those three words that a lot of people may fail to say, and that's I love you. Now, I don't mean just saying it sporadically or just saying it just because that's what other people want to hear, but it does a lot for us to know that the people that we love us back. It's important for your children, it's important for a spouse. It's important for relatives, anybody that you care about. It's important for not only to say it, but also to act in accord with how we're feeling, right? And to say those three words. And I don't know if you all were like me. When I was growing up, I grew up not saying those words. It was like, why say it? Or it doesn't really matter. Or if you say it, you're soft and things, or you're weird, or something is wrong with you. But there's been lots of research that has really been proven that children do need to hear I love you from their parents. And we do need to hear I love you from our siblings. And you need to hear those words from who you're in a relationship with. If when you really mean it, not just saying it, I love you, just because, like, okay, I said it, get off my back. No, saying it because you really do. If you really love them, they need to be reaffirmed, and they need to be reminded that, yes, I still do love you. And we all are imperfect. We all miss the mark of so many things. But what should never be something that anybody in our life should have to guess about is how we feel about them. And saying those simple words, it may be simple for some and more difficult for others. For me, coming from a really big family, hey, love baby, how are you doing? Welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Hi, Smith. How are you doing? For me, it took a really long time for me to get to that space where I um, I was able to say those words. Hi, Sans Gaming. How are you doing? It took me a really long time to get to the space in my life where I felt comfortable enough to say those words, I love you. It took me a long time. Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. The one that just said hi, sis. Hi, Ace. How are you doing? Hi, Ahmad. Hi, Alfredo. How are you doing? So it took a really long time in my life for me to feel comfortable enough to say those words, I love you, to my siblings or to other people. But I know, based on your background and how you were raised, for some it's easy to say the words I love you, and for others it's more difficult. But really, at the end of the day, I always said that you don't want to have some regret, you know. Uh, I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, hey, Ace. Am I a teacher? I'm a life coach. So that's one of the things that it took me a really long time for me to get to the space of learning that it was okay for me to say those words, I love you, because I grew up not saying it. I grew up holding things inside and feeling shamed to say I love you. I used to feel ashamed to say it, or feel weird or strange, like if you grew up in a space where you were not given affection and told that you were loved, if you were not validated and celebrated and encouraged, it's really hard for a lot of people who, like me, if you have ever been through a traumatic childhood, this channel is really geared and meant for those who had a traumatic upbringing. If you've seen things that you probably shouldn't see, if you were not supported in things, if you were disrespected, it's hard for you to have a healthy relationship with yourself and others. But it's okay. We can always learn. We can always grow and into healthy relationships. And that's why I always advocate for therapy and talking about things and talking through things. Hi, Christine. How are you doing? I think it's important for us to talk through how we're feeling and what you're going through. And you're not always going to get it from everybody in your life. I know I definitely didn't. I grew up from a Caribbean background, and you never talked about feelings, ever. You never talked about your feelings. If you did, they would laugh at you, or what's wrong with you? If you tried to give somebody a hug, they'd be like, stop, like, don't do that. I had to learn healthy relationship with love. And sometimes the people around us don't know how to love. They were never loved. They didn't know anything about affection, but that doesn't make it a good excuse for the reason why we don't do that as an adult. Over here on this channel, we talk about that healthy relationship with love, and it starts with us. It starts with you. So no matter what it is that we have been through, whether you've been in toxic romantic relationships, or you've had people who have used and abused you, disrespected you, we can always work on possessing love inside of ourselves. You may not have anybody in your life that is healthy enough that will say the words they love you with the backing it up, with the actions. So I do understand why a lot of people don't say the words I love you, because they're not ready to do the things that it takes to back that up. So I get that part, but what is important, everybody, is for, if you have kids, don't scar another generation. We have to break the chains, from one generation to the next. I know in my upbringing, I didn't get the I love yous and the hugs and the kisses, but I most certainly have given it to the next generation, my nieces and nephews and cousins and everybody who is coming after me. Somebody has to break that. Somebody has to heal it and say, this is how it's going to be now. And to all of my loved ones, I wish you love in your life, whether you have romantic love or not, whether you have good friendships or not, whether you have people that pour into you or not. We have to start with ourselves. And if nobody tells you they love you, they care about you, we can say it to ourselves. And we should say it to ourselves every single day. I love you because, and find reasons why you love yourself. You have to learn how to be your own best friend. You have to stand up for yourself, advocate, make boundaries, and make people respect you. Don't let people use and abuse you, but that's another topic for another day. So I just want to tap in very quickly and to say this. Make sure you're saying the words I love you to the people that you do love. I say this coming from a space where I regret not saying I love you more to a few people who are no longer here. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life, that I didn't do what I need to do. And I say this because maybe there's somebody that maybe you're not getting along with right now. Maybe you've got into something, or you're not talking, or whatever the situation, but you love them. Please try your best to mend it if it's possible. As long as it's not toxic. Sometimes we got to let go of those grudges and anger, and what we thought it was versus what it really is, because there's a lot of gray areas of um, life versus reality, what we perceive it was than what it really is. So it's really not worth it. If you have people in your life that you really love, tell them, show them, and prove it to them that you actually do. And thanks so much for tuning in. And this is Love Marlene 411, and thanks for tuning into this conversation. If you're watching in the replay, leave me a comment below. Shout out to everybody who is here live in the chat. Thank you to my newest mod, Love Baby, and all my new subscribers, anybody who came in that was in the background. Thank you so much. I hope that if you enjoy the content, that you subscribe until the next one. Tomorrow is Thursday, so you know we'll be back for the Sip and Chat, me and my co-host, Miss Nexie. I'll see you guys there. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday, and see you guys tomorrow live at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Sip and Chat tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.